Tonight, we are not running from the plague. We are simply walking, not in panic, not in fear, but slowly, through a city that no longer breathes the way it once did. The streets are still here. The houses still stand. The church bells still ring. But something invisible moves between them. You won't hear screams tonight. You won't see chaos. Instead, you will notice what is missing. No laughter from taverns. No crowded marketplaces. No children chasing each other through narrow stone streets. Only footsteps. Yours. And as we walk together through this plague-era city, you may begin to understand something strange. How ordinary life continues, even when death quietly waits behind closed doors. So settle in, lower your lights, and let us take a calm walk through a city living in the shadow of the Black Death. The morning that feels too quiet. It is early morning. The sun rises gently over the rooftops, casting soft golden light across cobblestone streets still damp from the night air. In another time, this hour would belong to bakers and merchants. You would smell fresh bread, hear wooden carts rolling toward the market square. But today, the city wakes more slowly. A single window opens, then closes again. You walk carefully, your shoes brushing against scattered straw laid across the street. Straw was meant to absorb waste and mud, but lately it serves another purpose. It covers things people would rather not see. You pass a doorway marked with a faded symbol painted in red. A warning. A house under watch. Inside, a family waits. Not all of them are sick, but no one is allowed to leave. The plague does not announce itself loudly. It arrives quietly, with a fever, a headache, a strange swelling beneath the arm. At first, people blamed the air. They called it miasma, bad air drifting through narrow alleys. Others whispered of divine punishment, of sins too heavy for the city to carry. But as you continue walking, you notice something unsettling. Life has not completely stopped. A woman sweeps her doorstep. A priest walks alone toward the chapel. A cart passes you slowly, covered in cloth. No one speaks about what lies beneath. The city is afraid, but it is also tired. Fear cannot remain sharp forever. Eventually, it softens into routine. You turn a corner into what was once the busiest market in town. Stalls stand half empty. Fish rot in silence. A butcher sits alone, staring at meat no one wants to buy. Money still changes hands, but cautiously. People avoid eye contact, because in a plague-era city, any stranger could carry tomorrow's sorrow. And yet, the sun continues to rise. The birds still land on rooftops. The world outside the city walls remains green and alive. It feels almost unfair. As you walk further, you begin to realize something profound. The plague is not only a story of death, it is a story of waiting. Waiting for symptoms. Waiting for recovery. Waiting for loss. And in this waiting, the city becomes strangely quiet. Not empty, just quieter. You pause beside a stone fountain. The water still flows, clear, calm, unaware. And for a moment, it almost feels like a normal day. But then a bell rings in the distance. Not for celebration, not for prayer. A slower bell, a heavier one. You do not need to ask what it means. And yet, people keep walking. Because even in a plague-era city, bread must still be baked. Water must still be carried. And morning still comes. The afternoon of quiet fear. By afternoon, the city feels warmer. Sunlight stretches longer across the stone walls. Shadows grow thinner. And yet, something feels heavier. You continue your walk. The marketplace is almost empty now. Those who came early have already gone home. They do not linger anymore. Lingering feels dangerous. You notice a figure at the far end of the street. Long dark coat, wide-brimmed hat, and a mask with a beak. A plague doctor. He moves slowly, not dramatically, not urgently. He carries herbs inside the beak of his mask. Lavender, rosemary, dried flowers. People believe sweet smells protect against poisoned air. No one truly knows if it works, but belief is comforting. A mother pulls her child closer as the doctor passes, not because he brings the plague, but because he confirms it is here. You follow at a distance. He stops at a narrow house marked with a red cross. The door opens only slightly. Coins are handed out carefully. Instructions exchanged in whispers. The doctor does not stay long. Few doctors do. There are too many houses, too many doors, and not enough time. You turn into a quieter alley. Here, the city feels suspended. Laundry hangs unmoving from wooden beams. A cat watches from a rooftop. A wooden toy lies abandoned near a doorstep. Inside many homes, families sit apart from one another. They avoid touch. They count breaths. They watch for signs. A small fever can change everything. And so the afternoon becomes a time of listening. Listening for coughing behind thin walls. Listening for footsteps that stop too suddenly. Listening for the slow wheels of a cart that comes at dusk. You reach the edge of the city wall. Beyond it, fields stretch wide and peaceful. Farmers continue their work. Crops must be harvested. Animals must be fed. The plague lives inside the city more fiercely than outside. Some wealthy families have already left for the countryside. They call it retreat. Others call it survival. But most people cannot leave. Their work is here. Their lives are here. And so they stay. As the afternoon fades, you pass by a small chapel. The doors are open. Not crowded. Just quietly occupied. A few candles flicker near the altar. People pray differently during a plague. Not always for miracles. Sometimes just for tomorrow. A man kneels alone. Not crying. Not speaking. Just waiting. The priest's voice echoes softly through the stone hall. He speaks of patience, of endurance, of faith tested by unseen trials.